And we are live. What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of the Hot Stove Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Nunez, and I'm here with my co-hosts.
I'm Mark.
I'm eating pizza.
I'm Josh.
You need to shave that shit, man.
Dude, what are you talking about, bro?
Whose is worse, his or mine?
Josh's might be worse only because he's got nothing on the chin.
Yeah, that's true.
I got rid of
a
it.
little something on the
Yeah.
chin.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Never keep the mustache. Anywho, we are here. We are here for another episode. Doing it a little bit earlier today because Josh refused to do it at 8 p.m. because the Cowboys are playing tonight.
I wasn't gonna be home.
Even though they suck. So,
All right, you'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
see, man.
Okay. That was a nasty shot that Kansas just hit. I'm watching the Kansas Creighton game right now. I don't even know, some white kid, Christian Braun,
What's the score of that game?
58-50 Kansas.
Okay. Creighton was 3.5 underdogs.
Creighton is very good. They're 8th in the country, right?
very true.
Creighton
Big
is
East,
very good.
Big East basketball. We gotta love it.
The Big East sucks. All right.
How dare you?
The Big East gets one good team every year, and normally it's Villanova. So
Whoa,
Get outta here.
whoa! Villanova, Creighton, Butler, Xavier. All these
Marquette.
teams have big top 25 programs.
yeah, so I'll amend that. The Big East gets two good teams every year, and at least one of them is Villanova.
Yeah.
Big East sucks. All right.
Josh is
Man.
doing this thing that I do now where he just says things and then once in a while they happen, so he looks like a genius. He's been saying the Cowboys are gonna win every week for like 6 weeks, and then they beat who they beat. The Vikings.
Okay.
I told
No.
you. I told
No.
you they beat the Vikings. I was
No.
calling it.
Josh did
No,
do
no.
that.
Hear me out.
That's
I
true.
had called the Vikings on Monday. The Monday before. That one I knew. It wasn't.
Your
Yeah,
lock
Saturday
of the
before.
week last week was the Cowboys beating the Redskins on Thanksgiving.
That's true.
Hey, the football team.
Should have been. Should have won that game.
Yeah, I mean,
Real
you
shot.
shouldn't have won that game when Antonio Gibson had like 160-3. But yeah, you tell yourself that. All right.
When they started running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, if you get bowled over like that, you shouldn't win the game. It's not that kind of a
It's a
situation.
close game.
But housekeeping stuff. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at HotStoveWYO, and make sure to smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, smash the bell button. Make sure to leave a comment if you're feeling like commenting. And that is our housekeeping stuff. By the way, did you know apparently ESPN has NBA's preseason start this Friday, by the way. Next week we will do our NBA season preview episode. That's what we'll do for episode lucky number 13. But apparently the preseason starts this Friday. ESPN's got a game, 10:30 p.m. this Friday. Kings Blazers NBA preseason action. I'll be tuning in because I need some basketball in my life. Anyways, that is beside the point. So before we get into our main topic of the day, and we do have a good main topic for you guys today, we're going to go over our FanDuel contest. So week 13 is not over, but our FanDuel contest ran through Monday. So even though the Cowboys Ravens game is tonight, they did not count in our FanDuel contest. So we're going to run it over real quick. Josh, big week from Josh. What? Darren Waller. That's really what.
Thank you.
Yeah, Darren Waller was.
Darren Waller. He went 150 for Josh tonight.
Thank you to everyone out there who keeps riding with me.
It's rigged.
That is Josh's second win of the season.
Second straight win, too.
Is that a second straight win? Is it true?
Oh, yeah. I'm hot.
No, I won the week before, didn't I?
Yeah, I think it's your second win in 3
What?
weeks.
You're second in
Because
three.
last week we recapped 2 weeks. You
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
won
yeah,
week
yeah.
11.
Oh, yeah, true.
Mark won
Oh,
week
hot.
10. Yeah,
I placed
still hot.
last week.
I came in
didn't finish
second
last.
with 145. Mark came in third with 128. And then Austin, why don't you explain to the people what happened?
All right, hear me out. I was pressured Saturday evening to set my lineup. So I wanted to make sure I got a lineup in. So I set a troll lineup that included Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs, who were both obviously not playing this week. And then at 12:54, I go, oh man, I got to set a lineup. I only have 10 minutes because my whole life I had thought the game started at 1:05. So I'm setting my lineup. I added my defense. I'm about to click submit, and FanDuel pops up on my screen and says, the 1 o'clock whatever has started. You're blah 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 blah, and it kicked me out. And then I went and even tried to add 4 o'clock players, and it said it's too late. Your lineup's your lineup, dude. Good luck. And so, it's a tough week. I will say, not even capping, I did have Darren Waller in my lineup. Just put it out there.
In the lineup that didn't make it. In the lineup that was submitted, he had Richard Rodgers as his tight end. Austin finished with 56.5 points this week. So we will go.
What are you gonna do?
I almost won on the back of T.Y. Hilton, but he didn't get.
Yeah.
Yeah, Texan killer, T.Y. Hilton.
I didn't get anything out of Antonio Gibson because of old
Dude,
so.
Josh, if you don't believe it, and of course you don't because you're an idiot.
I
T.Y.
believe it.
T.Y. Hilton's career numbers against the Texans.
Insane.
Ridiculous.
But T.Y. Hilton's career numbers this year fucking suck.
Career numbers
terrible.
this year.
Yeah,
He was good last week.
There's an argument he shouldn't even be on the field anymore this year.
That's he's been
I don't know about that.
He
but-
sucks.
He's been very bad this year,
Dog
but I
crap.
saw the Colts were playing the Texans, so that was just an automatic.
What was he
That's what I
worth?
did.
20 cents? What was he
It was
worth?
like 5,500, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
That's a lot. You overpaid.
T.Y. Hilton played pretty well. He's played well 2 weeks in a row. He might
5,600 for
actually-
21 points. I don't think I did.
Ty might be coming along these last few weeks of the season. Not going to help
I
the
hope.
season-long players who drafted him in like the 4th or 5th round. But hey, man, that's not my problem. I'll be playing him in DFS next week when they play the Texans again. So just
There you
know
go.
that.
Right.
All right.
I found a trivia question, a singular trivia question.
All right. Shoot.
Because I think this is really interesting. So 1961 was the Mantle Maris year. There's the movie about it with, Roger Maris at 61 home runs to set the all-time record.
Yep.
How many intentional walks did he have that year?
0.
How about this? How about this?
Yeah.
It was 0. He was hitting in front of Mickey Mantle and still didn't have a single intentional walk.
That's insanity. That's a point for Josh.
Yep.
Pick him up.
I saw that and I was like, I have to ask this trivia question.
Josh is now tied with Austin for second place in the 2020 trivia board at 15.5 apiece. We'll have to get some more trivia the last couple weeks of the season so we can count an official winner at the end of the calendar year. Also in FanDuel scoring, Austin's lead is starting to shrink just a little bit after this past week. He's at 31 points. Mark is at 28. I'm at 27 and Josh is at 23. Josh is making up ground now. He's got 2 first-place finishes in the last 3 weeks. So we will go over our Week 14 FanDuel lineups at the end of the show. But in the meantime, we're going to get into our main topic of the day. And if you remember last week, we did a show on our 2021 Baseball Hall of Fame ballots. So in keeping in the Hall of Fame theme, this week, this was uploaded to the internet November 24th, so a couple weeks ago. We got the list of the 25 Pro Football Hall of Fame semifinalists for the 2021 season. We're going to do a similar exercise that we did last week, except what we are going to do is fill out an official hot stove ballot. So the way this is going to work is that each of the 4 of us have come up with our own separate lists of 10 finalists. And then with those lists, the maximum of 8, because that's the maximum that the Football Hall of Fame allows in a class each year. Finalists that show up the most from the 4 of us, we will have them as our official hot stove ballot. So let me do some note taking here. So what we're going to do is I will start. I'm going to run down. We'll do basically the same thing that Mark did last week. So I'm going to go down my ballot. And if you guys have them on your ballot, let me know. I'm going to keep track here as well. And if anybody has anything to add as well, feel free to jump in. So we have 4 first-time nominees, first-time semifinalists on the ballot this year. Those are Jared Allen, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings, Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears, all those teams. Calvin Johnson, Megatron, is on the ballot for the first time this year. Peyton Manning, as some people
Hey,
call
why
him,
don't you just
the
throw it on the
sheriff.
screen?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're
That way we're not just sitting here listing names that we're already going to be listing names the entirety of the episode.
Dude, you're so
I-
smart.
I won't be listing names.
Oh no.
I don't think anyone makes the Hall of Fame.
Oh no. He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, so this is the list right here. These are the 25 modern era finalists, semifinalists. We got Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Cornelius Bennett, Tony Baselli, Leroy Butler, Alan Faneca. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Rodney Harrison, Torrey Holt, Calvin Johnson, John Lynch, Peyton Manning, Clay Matthews Jr., Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Steve Tasker, Fred Taylor, Zach Thomas, Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, Charles Woodson, Darren Woodson, and Bryant Young. So those are our 25 modern era semifinalists for the 2021 ballot. And we will start right off the cuff with a guy I assume will be unanimous on the 4 of our ballots. Let's start with the heavy hitter here. My first person on my 2021 ballot is the man they call the Sheriff. Even though that nickname didn't exist until like the last 2 years of his career. But the man they called the Sheriff. So if you look at, I'm sorry, we're going to talk about Peyton Manning first. If you look at Pro Football Reference, his 3 nicknames listed are the Sheriff, the Caveman, or Pay Dirt. I don't think anybody's ever called Peyton Manning the Caveman, but I like it.
Yeah,
Man.
I've never heard that before.
By the way, Creighton has tied the game with 6.5 minutes left. So,
Is that on ESPN?
yes, it is. Be on watch for that, ladies and gentlemen. So first person we're going to talk about is Peyton Manning. It's his first year on the ballot. Played from 1998 to 2010 with the Colts, and then from 2012 to 2015 with the Denver Broncos. Now let me list off some career accomplishments for Peyton Manning. 3-time league passing leader, 14-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro selection, 2-time Super Bowl champion, once with the Colts, once with the Broncos, 4th all-time in completions and attempts, 3rd all-time in yards and touchdowns, 1st all-time in sack percentage. Fun fact, he was sacked more infrequently than any quarterback in NFL history. 1st all-time in terms of quarterback, 4th quarter comebacks as a quarterback as well. And according to Pro Football Reference's Hall of Fame monitor, similar to the baseball Hall of Fame monitor, Peyton Manning is 1st all-time amongst quarterbacks.
Really?
According to Pro Football Reference, he has the most qualified quarterback in terms of the Hall of Fame in NFL history. So
That's surprising.
I mean, I'm assuming we don't have any objections here.
No, Peyton Manning isn't.
Objection. No.
It's Peyton Manning. I don't think they have to say anything else.
Anybody have anything to add for Peyton Manning?
He was good.
No.
He was really good.
Quite good.
I
2015.
remember watching Peyton Manning with those Denver Broncos. His team have always been his team. Bronco for life.
Not to burp.
Idiot.
This Broncos legend, Peyton Manning, best quarterback they've ever had.
Yeah,
Wow.
in 2013, he had what was at the time the greatest season in quarterback history, 5,477 passing yards, 55 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions that season. That 2013 team was a beast. And then winning the Super Bowl in 2015 as well, capping off a legendary first ballot Hall of Fame worthy career. So we're going to move on.
That incredible performance in that Super Bowl either.
Hey,
He
man.
was
It was him.
dynamite his entire Broncos career.
It was him or the Brockster. All right. I mean, which one do we want to go with here? They probably would have lost that game if Brock Osweiler started. Let's just put it out.
Yeah, they would have because Peyton Manning was impeccable. I think his passer rating was the old 158.3.
Oh, I bet in that Super Bowl he was definitely just perfect, 100%.
Yeah.
So, Mark, while I'm pulling up some other stuff, why don't you tell the people the fact that you don't know anything about football?
I'm very bad. For all the knowledge I have of baseball from like the 1930s, my lack of NFL knowledge from prior to 2015 is staggering.
It's whatever.
It's like some of these guys, I was looking at the ballot and I was like, I know that name, couldn't tell you what position they played, who they played for. Like, and we're talking like guys that are good. We're not talking some of the more fringe names on the ballot. We're talking like some of the guys that we will be getting into.
Yeah. Mark told me last week a couple of the names that he like legitimately didn't know what position they played or what team they played for, and my mind was blown. My mind.
It's because I've watched the NFL my entire life, but I never really cared until like 5 years ago.
I see.
That's fair.
Like I was an Eagles fan. I knew the Eagles. Like I knew like guys who played in the NFC East basically, and that was about it. And then I got more into football as I got older.
So we're gonna move on to what I would consider would be our second gimme of the ballot so far. He played not in the NFC East, but in the NFC North. A short career, but a great one. The one they call Megatron. Calvin Johnson. I almost called him Carl for a second. Calvin
good old
Johnson,
Carl Johnson, wide receiver for the Detroit Tigers.
2007 to 2015. It's his first year on the ballot as well. And Josh, you have a person that you know that has an interesting relationship with Calvin Johnson. Why don't you tell that story for the audience?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie. I want to say I agree with him, but after looking at Pro Football Reference here, I may, and I'll tell you that later. But yeah, a friend of mine at work, big Lions fan, talking about him the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, that guy's a bum. Never, I don't know how he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Lions fan. He just has no respect for this man because of the way he left the team, and you know he said the team was terrible after he left, whatever. And but he loves Barry Sanders.
I was gonna say, tell him
Very
the
similar
kicker.
situations. Who's to say?
Identical situations.
It's
actually.
the same situation. It's not similar. It's exactly the same.
Hear me out. To play devil's advocate and actually where I may land, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yes.
First ballot.
Yes.
Let's look. His Hall of Fame monitor isn't even, it's an 84. 84.
So
Not
part of
even
that,
9
I will
years.
say the part of the Hall of Fame monitor has to do with accumulation.
Sure.
Yeah, so he's not gonna have more passing yards than a lot of Hall of Famers.
Didn't put in a decade. The most impressive stat of his to mine is that he has 83 touchdowns in 9 years, and that's more than, let's say, a Reggie Wayne who played 13 years. So in 4 more years, he caught one less touchdown than Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson's also second all-time in receiving yards per game.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Less amount of games than probably most people who play the position longer.
Well, I will say, you know who is first, so it doesn't really matter all that much.
Jerry Rice.
Julio Jones is first.
This is a trivia question we had on the show.
Oh yeah.
Julio Jones is first by like 10 yards a game.
How many seasons has Julio played in? He's got to have over a decade now, hasn't he?
6.
What? 6? What are you talking about?
Anyways, I mean, it's the same question we had about Jeter. I don't care.
10. This is 10th season.
You
Is
look
it
at
really?
the ballot. And you say, can you reasonably tell me, Josh?
Julio was like 28.
Oh yeah, Julio just played his 135th game, which is how many games Calvin Johnson played in his career, I believe.
There you go. So
Want to do a bit of a comparison there?
Yeah.
Austin?
Yeah.
How many career receiving yards does Julio Jones have?
12,896.
Okay, that's 1,200 more than Calvin Johnson. Now, mind you, again, Julio Jones is first in NFL history in yards per game by a lot. That's just a lot. How many touchdowns does Julio Jones have?
60.
Calvin Johnson had 83. Yards per reception?
15.2.
Calvin Johnson was 15.9. What are some other good stats here? How many times has Julio Jones led the league in receiving? 3, 4?
2.
2. Calvin Johnson also had 2. How many times has Julio Jones led the league in receptions?
Once.
Calvin Johnson also led the league in receptions one single time. A season in which, by the way, he had 122 catches for 1,964 yards.
Also,
that's
200 targets.
That was Stafford's 4th year, I think.
Julio had 200 targets the year he led the league in receptions. He had 203 targets, 136 receptions for 1,871 yards. and 8 touchdowns, which is surprising because usually he's good for, I don't know.
By the way, that year that Calvin Johnson had almost 2,000 yards, he only had 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, like
Touchdowns are such a wonky stat; it's ridiculous. The following year, he had 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns. So
Julio Jones once had 88 catches for 1,400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
yeah, Julio Jones
That's
is
last
very
season.
good and will also be a first ballot Hall.
No,
of Famer.
last season he had 6 touchdowns.
I mean, yeah, probably because he's gonna put in his work. He's gonna put in the more years.
Josh, I'll ask you this.
Yeah, go for it.
This will answer the question really. Can you reasonably tell me?
Yep.
That there are 10 people on this ballot that you would say are more worthy of being in the Hall of Fame this year than Calvin Johnson? It shouldn't be that difficult because you've already made a ballot.
I know, but there's a wide receiver that I left off instead of Calvin Johnson that I'm now debating. So I mean, maybe I can. I don't know. I do have a problem with that normally most of the time. Like to be a first ballot, you got to really go above and beyond. Which
I would
get
argue, like you said, we talked about different stipulations. Calvin Johnson was the best receiver in football for
9 years.
2007 Randy Moss still played football, so 8 years.
Let's calm down.
2007 Randy Moss had a 26 touchdown season. So
That is true.
but Calvin Johnson was the best receiver in football at least 6 or 7 of those years of his career. It's not really even much of a question. Now we're going to get to someone later who you agreed with me should be in the Hall of Fame this year, who played less seasons than Calvin Johnson. So,
Did
yeah, he's a linebacker.
I?
Josh has no clue. He's already
No idea. No clue.
I'm looking through.
No clue.
Yeah, I don't have him on my list. I guess I don't know. Linebacker. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah,
So you're
Yeah.
a hypocrite.
but he's not a first ballot. No. This is his second year. This is his second year on the ballot.
Okay, so you're going to play stupid year politics. I got you. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Okay, so if he's worthy, he's worthy. It doesn't matter. It's the same conversation we had about Jeter, about how Mark wouldn't vote for him because he's first ballot. He knew he was going to get in. That's stupid.
Mo shouldn't have gotten in first ballot either.
really
unanimous.
stupid. You're an idiot. All right.
Unanimous. Sorry.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. How many of us have Calvin Johnson on their ballot?
all of us, I'm assuming.
I do.
Oh, you do, Josh.
Well, as of now, I could change it. Would you like me to change it?
I would like you to give me an answer.
Yeah, I gotta change it. I feel like I was being an asshole. I gotta change it.
So you want to take Patrick Willis off of that too?
No, he's a second year guy. I'll keep him.
Oh, my apologies.
Take off Megatron.
God, you're an idiot. Let's see here.
He's calling him Megatron. You'd think someone who hates him enough to not vote for him wouldn't call him Megatron.
Yeah, just like Skip Bayless only refers to Kawhi Leonard as number 2.
Yeah,
That
don't
is
get me started on that entire saga. I will
an
just
absolute troll.
I will go off on Skip Bayless with the Kawhi Leonard thing.
Go off, King.
Josh, I tell you, if Calvin Johnson doesn't make this ballot because of you, I'm going to hate you eternally.
Thank you.
Because your principles are dumb and outdated and ridiculous. So we're going to move on to our third gimme, because there are 4 gimmies on this ballot, whether or not Josh wants to acknowledge it. Our third gimme played cornerback with the Raiders, the Packers, and then the Raiders yet again from 1998 to 2015. This is also his first year on the ballot. It is Charles Woodson, the man. Sorry. 9-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro selection, Hall of Fame, all 2000s team. The Hall of Fame does a decade team every year, and Charles Woodson was on the All 2000s team. By the way, Calvin Johnson was on the All 2010s team. He played 6 years in the decade. So,
He win an MVP.
what?
Did he win an MVP?
You know as well as I do that not winning an MVP means nothing when you're not a quarterback.
This next guy did it. He's not a quarterback.
Charles Woodson
Yeah.
never won an MVP.
Yes, he's the last defensive player to win MVP. Last non-quarterback to win
So if
MVP.
you go to Pro Football Reference, you'll see that you're wrong.
Charles Woodson did not win an MVP.
Also, the
moron.
most recent non-quarterback to win, Adrian
no.
Peterson.
Sorry.
So,
Won a Heisman.
Heisman. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm Josh never won the Heisman. When I,
Shut up.
Yeah, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We need more Heisman winners.
That's
hey,
true.
who's to say?
Yeah, this isn't the Basketball Hall of Fame. You don't get it for college stats.
It's true.
9-time Pro Bowl, 3-time
My
All
bad.
Pro, Hall of Fame, All 2000s team, 2011 Super Bowl champion with the Packers, 1998 Defensive Rookie of the Year, 2009 Defensive Player of the Year, 5th all-time in interceptions, 2nd all-time in pick sixes. He ranks 7th amongst all defensive backs, which does include corners and safeties. All defensive backs in Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor. Again, this is another man that needs no introduction and should not be much of a question as to whether or not he makes in the Hall of Fame, unless Josh wants to say that, like, on the flip side, he played too long to be in the Hall of Fame or something like that.
No.
Because he's got
I
some
like
sort
guys.
of weird years requirement.
He had 3 pick sixes just in 2009.
He's quite good at football.
That's insane.
It's 10 years after his Rookie of the Year campaign. Good for him. I like Charles Woodson.
Oh, Calvin Johnson. You fucking idiot. You're an idiot. All right. Anybody have, for some stupid reason, have him not on their ballot? Anybody
No.
care to present something dumb? No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't like the Packers. I'll say it.
I also don't like the Packers. Yeah.
Fuck this guy. Get him out of here.
The next guy is a guy that I argued for being on the ballot or being in the Hall of Fame last year in 2020, but I didn't even look at the semifinals last year, so honestly, I don't even know like who he was up against or anything like that. I know Troy Polamalu got inducted this past year.
Yeah.
But the next one, 7-year pro for the San Francisco 49ers, that's Patrick Willis. This is his 2nd year on the ballot. He made the Pro Bowl in all seasons of his career. 5-time All-Pro selection, Hall of Fame All 2010s team, mind you, while only playing half of the decade. 2-time tackles leader, 2007 Defensive Rookie of the Year, and 8th amongst inside linebackers in Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor overall. So Patrick Willis
To be 8th in 7 years is wildly impressive.
is quite good.
Very good.
Yeah, I also have Patrick Willis.
He made my list as well.
I'm on.
Not yours?
Oh, he's on mine. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you said not mine too. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh, so
no,
he's
no,
not a hypocrite. He's just an idiot.
All right. So those were the easy ones. It's time to have some real conversation, maybe a little bit of debate amongst the next one. So the next one I'm going to bring up is a defensive lineman, played from 2001 to 2008 for the New England Patriots and 2009 to 2012 for the Oakland Raiders. It's his 4th year on the ballot. It is Richard Seymour. Richard Seymour is the next man on my ballot. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. All 2000s team from the Hall of Fame. He's 11th all-time amongst defensive end on Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor. And for me, Richard Seymour is one of those guys. He was just a beacon of consistency when he played. He was consistently a top flight defensive end in the NFL every single year of his career. He was the man, and he was the focal point behind that three-peat in Foxborough. The defensive focal point, I should say, behind that three-peat in Foxborough back in
more important than that guy that was just slinging the pigskin around.
Yeah, more important than the guy that was throwing the football. Correct. Richard Seymour is next on our list. Anybody else have anything to say about Richard Seymour or anything like that? Does anybody not have Richard Seymour on their ballot? Mark,
I don't.
care to explain why?
I forgot.
You forgot.
I forgot to put Richard Seymour on my ballot. I saw the name and I was like, I recognize that name. I feel like this guy was good, and he was one of the guys I forgot to look up to make sure he was who I thought he was. And,
This process sucks. All right.
after listening to you, I was like, damn, missed one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his football reference right now, and I'm like, oh, shit, that's. So you can I'll do 11. He's.
That's not how that works.
I don't
works.
care.
Take somebody off, go for it. But
I don't know who to take off. I don't know enough about these guys.
so then we will leave him off. Richard Seymour gets 3 votes from the 3 of us, right? Austin and Josh, you both have him?
He
I
is on my list as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Anybody have anything to say about him?
I think you covered it.
Yeah, I think you
mean,
covered it pretty
He
well.
just embodies early 2000 Patriots defense in my eyes.
Yeah,
I'm just a big dumb idiot.
that is until the is Teddy Bruschi already in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I couldn't remember how long ago you retired.
Isn't there another guy from that team in the ballot?
I do not have him on my ballot. If there is,
I thought he played for them. Maybe I'm an idiot.
Sam
I'm just a
Mills,
big-
maybe.
No, Rodney
Maybe so.
Harrison.
Ronnie Harrison. Okay.
Yeah.
Ronnie Harrison did not make mine. Maybe we'll talk about him later. Who knows? So, anyways, we will get to our next entry here. We'll go another defensive player because I want to save my incredible argument for one offensive lineman until later in the show. We'll go another defensive player here. This man played from 1996 to 2007 for the Miami Dolphins, as well as 2008 for the Dallas Cowboys. It's his third year on the ballot, and it is Zach Thomas, legendary linebacker for the Miami Dolphins. And I guess he played for the Cowboys. I didn't know that. 7-time Pro Bowl, 5-time All-Pro, Hall of Fame to All-2000s team, 2-time tackles leader, 5th all-time in NFL history in tackles, 7th among inside linebackers on Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor. Anybody have any anything you want to say about Zach Thomas, really, before I have a really good stat about him, but I don't want to give it too early.
I actually knew this one. I saw the name, and I was like, oh, he was a linebacker. I don't know why I randomly knew a linebacker from like the mid-90s to the early 2000s, but I did, and I have him on my ballot.
Awesome.
I don't have him on my ballot. I don't know. I honestly forgot him. I have no clue who this guy is.
I'm not
Thomas-
the only one.
That's interesting because Zach Thomas to me is one of those guys that he's just one of the guys I'll always remember from like the mid 2000s. I have no idea why.
Okay.
But he's one of those guys that I just always think of when I think of like mid 2000s linebackers. It's like Ray Lewis, Urlacher, Zach Thomas. Like those are the three guys that I think of. So, Austin, you got anything to input?
For me, this guy's just boring. ZZZ. Tackling people's boring. I want splash plays. He didn't make my ballot.
Okay.
All right.
Quick little update. Kansas just fouled a 3-pointer with 1 second left to go when they're up by 3.
Correct. So Creighton might be able to tie that game. I will say here, you want to hear a great stat? So Zach Thomas played 13 years in the NFL. 18 career penalties.
That's pretty impressive.
18 career penalties and 13 career seasons.
He's paying off refs.
So what you're telling me is this guy was a cheater.
We're not in on the conspiracy stuff.
No conspiracy. Facts.
Yeah, I mean that's a conspiracy.
That is pretty impressive.
So
It is.
it's pretty to point that out there. So
yeah, that's a crazy stat.
I think they just
on
missed their
to-
first field goal or free throw.
No, they didn't.
That's it, you
Oh,
said?
okay.
No, he made both of them. He's on the third one now.
Made
You're
ball
a-
on the third. What the? What are you watching on?
He's watching on cable. You're watching on DirecTV. I'm on Hulu.
He missed the third. It went out of bounds. It's Kansas basketball.
Oh, there you go. Mark just spoiled it for us. So we'll move on. I'll do the guy who I think I have the strongest case for of any of these players. This man played from 1998 till 2010. The combination of the Steelers, Jets, and Arizona Cardinals. It's his 6th year on the ballot. It is offensive guard Alan Faneca. Now, let me tell you some stats about this man. 9-time Pro Bowl, 6-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champion with the Steelers. He started out of a total of 206 career games, started 201 of them, and started every game of every season after becoming a full-time starter in 2000. Now, here we go back to the penalty argument. In his 13
years, yeah.
13-year career, committed 4 holding penalties. 4 holds in his 13-year career.
Pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive.
An absolute beacon of consistency at the offensive line position. The man was a tank. The man was durable. He was Joe Thomas before Joe Thomas.
Yeah, I was gonna say started every game from 2002 to 2010.
Who's this guy?
Alan Faneca.
Oh, there he is. Okay. I didn't see him on the ballot for a second.
He is Joe Thomas before Joe Thomas existed. He's 4th all-time in Pro Football References Hall of Fame metric at offensive guard. And he's on my ballot.
Yeah, he's on mine.
He is also on my ballot.
I feel bad for Alan Faneca because I just didn't do enough research for him, so he's not on my ballot. But
Ooh.
There's gonna be a lot of that coming from the two of us, I think.
yeah, sorry about that, Alan. Get to the bench.
All right, so we will get
Spanking.
to
Whoa.
our. We'll go
We're
to.
spanking?
Let's go to skill position player. Go back to the skill position. This is the man I was talking about before we started recording. As I have a feeling he might get in this year, so he can get in with his former quarterback. He played from 2001 to 2014, all with the Indianapolis Colts. It's his second year on the ballot. I'm of course talking about Reggie Wayne, 6-time Pro Bowler, only 1-time All-Pro selection, Super Bowl champion. Led the league in receiving yards once, but most importantly, he's 10th all-time in receptions and yards, and 11th among wide receiver on Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor. So, does anybody have anything to say about Reggie Wayne?
I love Reggie Wayne. He's one of my favorite receivers. Watch him play. Him and Marvin Harrison side by side, just the most elite 1-2 you could ask for pretty much ever.
I mean, they were easily the best duo since Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty absolutely disgusting. I mean, to be able to put up those numbers with that type of player on the other side of you too is just like consistently year after year is insane.
They're easily, to me, like top 5 receiver duos in NFL history. Probably third. I'd say third, maybe even second. Because obviously first you got Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of just go nuts from there unless I'm forgetting something. But I would say
Not that I
Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison. I would say Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. I would say the 2 guys from Tennessee that played in the Super Bowl against the Rams. Dyson and now I can't remember. Those guys. You know, you get what I'm getting at.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have Reggie Wayne on my ballot, of course. I think it's got a little added boost here with his career quarterback also being on the ballot for the first time this year. And I would definitely love to see them both get their busts at the same time. Anybody else have Reggie Wayne on their ballot?
Yeah,
I'd also love to see them both get their bust off at the same time. And
hey,
and I do have Reggie Wayne on my ballot.
Why do you have to make it weird?
It just, hey, man. Would you not like to see that?
Okay. So next, we're getting into my 9th player on my ballot. And another guy I'm sure Josh doesn't have because he only played 6 years in the NFL. That is Tony Baselli. Played his entire career for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was their he was the franchise's first ever draft pick. Started all but 5 games after the year he became the starter. And then eventually he tore his ACL in 2001, and shoulder injuries from there prevented him from ever playing another snap. But in those 6 years, he was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. He made the Hall of Fame All-90s team, although only playing the second half of the decade. And he's, even though through only 5 NFL seasons, he is 18th among offensive tackles in Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor. And another little throw on top of it, NFL Network did a list of the like top 100 players to not be in the Hall of Fame, and Tony Baselli was 6th on that list. So another man who probably had injuries not slowed his career down would have been among the greatest offensive linemen in NFL history. He was that good when he played, and he was a large part of the early success of those Jacksonville Jaguars teams in the late 90s. Anybody have anything to say on Tony Baselli?
He was originally on my ballot. I took him off.
Same. He's not on my ballot either nowadays.
I switched him out for a different player. So
props to you for educating the people on Tony Baselli because he's not on mine.
Amen. He's one of those people to me that definitely deserves more recognition.
Yeah,
I like. Sounds like a Hall of Famer to me. It's just one of those things. It's like
it's just the tough,
yeah, man, probably should be. I don't
just
know.
the way that.
Not changing my ballot.
I mean, yeah, it's just kind of the way that the NFL one works. I mean, if there's 10 people that you feel better than, and I mean, it's just,
I mean, the NFL ballot is always super loaded every single year.
Yeah, so it's tough.
And it's the same thing with baseball. You get 10 years on the
okay.
modern era ballot, I believe. So my final selection for my 2021 Hall of Fame ballot is another defensive player. We're going back to the other side of the ball. Played his entire career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1997 to 2012. It's his fourth year on the ballot. And to me, that is Rondé Barber. One of the best, to me, for my money, one of the best safeties of the 21st century. Zero question whatsoever. Right up there with the Brian Dawkins of the world. He played safety, right? Like, I'm not losing my marbles. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right up there with the Brian Dawkins of the world as the best safeties of this generation. 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. He did win a Super Bowl. Led the league in interceptions once. 4th all-time in defensive touchdowns. 10th all-time in solo tackles in NFL history. And on the NFL or on on Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor, he's 29th among defensive backs. And that may seem like, oh, it's 29th. The NFL has been around for 100 years as an organization. And might I remind you, defensive back counts as all cornerbacks and safeties. So to be top 30 amongst that metric is still the most elite of the elite company. To me, Rondé Barber should have probably been in the Hall of Fame by this point already. But now that we're here, to me, he deserves a spot on my ballot. What about everybody else?
Rondé Barber is also on my ballot.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. As long as it's not Tiki, I'm rooting for the Barbers.
Yeah, I actually was kind of underwhelmed when I dove deeper into Rondé Barber's stuff because just from watching him play, he just popped off the screen and he was just insane. And then when you see his stats, like he has great stats, but like when you compare him to other defensive backs that you think he's in par with, he does kind of seem like he lacks on the count.
That solo tackle thing though is kind of insane to me. Top 10 in solo tackles.
10th all-time in solo tackles.
Yeah. As a DB, that's nuts.
Yep.
Right? I saw that, and that was the reason I put him on my ballot. Like when I was doing research, I was like, yeah, Rondé Barber, I don't know. And then I saw that and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, usually my thing also is like if you end your career, you're top 10 in like an important stat, you're probably just a lock to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
For me, right? Like if you're top 5, you're most likely a lock to be first ballot Hall of Famer. Like Frank Gore, for example, zero question will be a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever he decides to hang it up at the ripe age of 900.
I was gonna say in
he
in
was never played.
2083.
I don't know. There was probably never a period where Frank Gore was the best running back in football. But he's also going to retire second all time in rushing yards. So
I don't know. Was there ever a point in his career where he was a top 5 running back in football?
yes.
He
Yeah,
had
and Indy for sure.
He had
San
one year where he
Francisco.
ran for like 1,500 yards.
Yeah. His San
yeah,
Francisco
that's
years
insane.
were elite. Yeah. And he also was pretty good after he went to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Like the first couple years in Indianapolis.
Didn't
He
he have
ran
like
for
the
he
most-
ran for 900 yards last year in Miami.
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't he have the most consistent like, what is it, 1,000-yard seasons or has the most 1,000-yard seasons in?
It's possible. I mean, he's been around for what, 17 years now?
Yeah, he has
He has
9,000 yards.
Yeah.
1,000-yard season.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that's a conversation for another day. Frank Gore, for my money, is a no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer. Him and Larry Fitzgerald. You know.
Yeah,
like-
I'm not disagreeing. I was just like,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was bolstering your point, Mark.
yeah,
So do all 4 of us have Rondé Barber on the ballot?
we do.
All right, so we've got
Wow, more of us have Rondé Barber than Kelvin Johnson. That's wild, bro.
insanity. We'll talk about here.
Wow.
Let's get into, let's see here. We have 5 guys that are certainly making it on the ballot because they've made it on all 4 of our ballots. Those are Peyton Manning.
So how much
Good.
to Mark and Austin? How many do you have left? I have
1.
4. Oh, you have 1 left. What about you, Austin?
It looks like I have 2 left.
I have 4.
Or no, I have 2. I'm sorry. I have 2.
All right, you want to go with yours, Mark?
Sure.
Okay.
So one of them I have was a linebacker. Played for why am I drawing? New Orleans. And then he played for Carolina after that. And that is that's Sam Mills. I have Sam Mills on my ballot because he was really good for a really long time. And, a lot of linebackers are really good for a really long time. But a lot of linebackers aren't 5'9", 230. And the
Tell me
fact
that's a
that,
disadvantage.
the fact that he was a 5-time Pro Bowler, an all-pro sort of guy at that sort of size at linebacker is really impressive to me, and I think he should be recognized for that.
Okay.
That's
Austin,
pretty
is
much
he on
it.
yours?
No, he's not on mine, but
He's 20th among inside linebackers for Hall of Fame monitor.
I
So.
kind of like that. It's kind
I'm
of.
gonna tell you, that's insane that he's 20th because his Hall of Fame monitor stinks. 58.3. That's pathetic.
Yeah, it's not great, but he's still 20th. So
Yeah, I know.
I also don't think the Pro Football Reference one is the same as Pro Baseball, because I don't think the average Hall of Fame monitor is 100 on Pro Football Reference. Because
no, I don't
guys
think it is. I don't think it is either.
Yeah.
But
it is. It says it is.
Oh, it is?
100 is average Hall of Fame at player's position.
So there's like no people who are 100. Or
In the football one?
there's like, so when I was doing research for this list, like there's
but
like a
Ray
handful
Lewis
of
has
people.
197.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Ray Lewis is like a top 5 defensive
But
player.
yeah, I think that's the point, though. Like Barry
that's
Bonds is
average.
like 380, and
Yeah.
Lewis only
Yeah.
has 197.
Okay, that makes more sense then.
Yeah,
I
that's
get
kind of
what
what
you're
I'm
saying.
saying.
I'm sorry to Sam Mills. May he rest in peace.
Is he dead?
Yes,
No,
he
I
is.
don't- Oh, he is?
Yeah. He died in 2005. He was only 45.
Oh, man.
Josh, do you have him on your ballot?
No.
Okay. All right, Mark, who's next?
It's just something that I thought was cool. My dad told me about him because I was like, I've never heard of this Sam Mills guy, and he was like, oh, he was tremendous for
Who's
his
this
size
Sam
at
Mills
linebacker.
joker?
And then my other one is another linebacker. Went heavy with the linebackers, and that's Cornelius Bennett.
Okay.
All 1990s team, 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All Pro again. He's 27th among outside linebackers in Hall of Fame monitor, but he played for those Bills teams, man. He was on those Bills teams that very very much should have won at least one Super Bowl.
He was on a Bills team, correct?
That's what kept him off my ballot.
You're the worst.
But yeah, just a couple of linebackers
Austin?
for you. Nothing too flashy.
Is he on your ballot?
Oh, he's definitely not on my ballot now.
Okay.
Mark, did you have another guy?
Nope, just those two.
All right. I'll go with my guess of someone who maybe could be on Austin's ballot. Maybe. Should we go there?
I don't know that now that we've gotten through Mark's ballot, and there's only 2 of you left, our ballot, our hot stove ballot is solidified at this point. We'll still talk through what you guys have on your ballot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think, Austin, one of your guys left is a wide receiver, correct?
Correct.
It's not the one I'm thinking, though. It's Torrey Holt.
It is Torrey Holt.
Okay. Mine is Hines Ward, and I'll tell you, they're very different. They're very different players. Torrey Holt's a standout who played for 2 less seasons but has more yards and is probably just the overall better receiver. But I'll give my argument for Hines Ward in that this man had the tenacity on the football field, constantly played through injuries, 4-time Pro Bowler in 13 years, and would jack people up. Loved all aspects of the game at wide receiver, loved blocking, good all-around wide receiver, and it's more than just catching the ball at that position. So that's why I tried to give some passion to the young man who played it for so long.
Yeah, I mean, Torrey Holt and both Torrey Holt and Hines Ward were my first 2 cuts off of this list, and they were very difficult cuts.
Mine as well.
For my money, they will both be in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so, absolutely. They just didn't quite make the cut from my list.
Hines Ward and Torrey Holt were my 2. It was one or the other. I had to pick between them.
Who's your other guy?
It was tough. Jared Allen.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it like that. Like he's not at all Hall of Fame ready, but
Is he on your ballot, Josh?
He's not. He's not on mine. I mean, he's first ballot guy. You know me, Nunez.
I'm surprised you even voted for Peyton Manning.
You really kind of go above and beyond for
That guy had one bad year, Nunez. I mean, what are we talking about here? He had a neck injury? A quarterback with a neck injury in my Hall of Fame? No,
he had
sir.
no tenacity. He missed a season because of his neck injury.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not on mine. Did you want to talk about him, Austin? Or
Yeah, I mean, he had 5 first-team All-Pro seasons. I think he had 9 seasons with 10 or more sacks. I mean, and he did it with different teams. He started with Kansas City, did it with Minnesota. He finished his pitiful career in a pitiful franchise of Chicago. But
Rude.
you know, I mean, those are forgettable years. He had years. He led a league in sacks twice. Once with 22 sacks. I think he showed years where he was peak level best rusher in the league and consistency over time. He only played 12 years, which I say only, but that's quite a long time for someone who tackles people all day, 12 seasons. But yeah, I mean, he was just an elite pass rusher for his entire prime. He also recorded 4 safeties in his career. How many people can say that?
You can check.
I don't know.
Check the
I don't know how many people.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could look it up. I'm sure that's on Pro Football.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
I will say
he's
Jared Allen is
850th all time for safeties.
Jared Allen is another one of those guys that I think will definitely be a Hall of Famer. Absolutely. But I guess this is where I'm looking up the safeties thing.
So am I. Wow. It's okay. Wait. The individual record is 2, but then they share the NFL record for safeties is 4. What? Oh, so he's gotten like shared tackles in the end zone that count as safeties.
Oh, okay.
Which actually count as 4, but some guy Fred Dreyer had them both himself.
According to Pro Football Reference, there are 4 people in NFL history with 4 safeties: Doug English, Ted Hendricks, Justin Houston, and Jared Allen.
Okay, I'm glad we did look it up then.
There you go. So he's one of 4 people who can say that.
That being the all-time record is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
I get
they don't happen all that often, but
you know?
yeah, I get they don't happen all that often, but 4 just seems low, you know.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I'll also say in his 12-year career, he played what looks to be 15 or 14 or more games every season. Every single season. He somehow stayed away from injury, played most games every year, and produced for at least 10 of those years. And even his rookie year, he came out with 9 sacks in just 10 starts.
I got 3 more losers to show up if you care about them. Anyone?
Yeah, sure.
Let's hear them.
If there were 3 losers, and at least one of them is Darren Woodson because he played for the Cowboys. So
not only that, but we'll get to it. First off, biggest loser of them all, Rodney Harrison, who I put on here, who now is just an absolute bum. Probably should have been replaced with Alan Franco, but whatever. Faneca, sorry. This guy is just an absolute.
Did you just say Alan Franco?
Faneca, sorry. Faneca. Faneca.
Do you really not know who that is? Like, you never heard his name?
I've never heard of his name. I really haven't. I'm so sorry. Like, I should have with the amount of Madden I played in that time. Maybe I just didn't care about the line back then. I don't know.
You probably didn't care about the linemen. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
Nowadays, I love big fronts, and then I get a running
offensive line or offensive guard is a very unsexy position.
It is. I'm sorry. I apologize to Mr. Allen F. Okay. Point is, I put in this bum Rodney Harrison who sucks, but he's got 3 bowls with. I saw Richard Seymour. I was like, "There's this guy. He played with him in New England for the time. Got the 3 chips as well. 2 Pro Bowls, whatever." He's a loser. Let's be honest. This guy doesn't deserve to touch a golden jacket. Other one I put in. This is my 10th last guy. It was instead of it was John Lynch. John Lynch, who again 13 seasons, 9 Pro Bowls. Good DB. Big hitter too. Love that out of the defensive back position. Guys just looking to really take the heads off of receivers coming across the middle. So respect.
John Lynch is a guy who I've had on my ballot previously, and I've kind of changed my stance on him after doing more research. Like John Lynch, to me, guy is like almost like the Sean Kemp of the current Hall of Fame discussion.
Okay.
Like Sean Kemp isn't in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and it's a question of icon versus production. Like if you look at John Lynch's numbers, they don't really jump off the page or anything like that, really, in pretty much any department. But John Lynch is a guy who exemplifies a certain style of play that made the 90s what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Sean Kemp. Like Sean Kemp.
Yeah, when I think 90s basketball, Sean Kemp is like the third or fourth person to come to mind.
Right. But again, if you look at Sean Kemp's career numbers, they're like nothing special, really.
Yeah, which I always forget. He just seems like a guy to me who averaged 24 points and 11 rebounds.
He was not that guy.
No, he wasn't.
He's not that guy.
Also,
But anyways,
if you asked me how many shots he blocked per game for his career, I would have said, I don't know, 4.5, 1.2. What the hell?
Yeah. So it's the thing I think about with John Lynch. It's a fine pick. I've changed my opinion a little bit on it.
I get that. He's a 9th year guy too, so just trying to get him in the Hall before, that was kind of my idea. They're thinking. Darren Woodson is the last guy. 3-time Super Bowl champion, 11 years in the league, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All Pro. I haven't looked at his actual stats. Probably not great, actually, to be honest with you. Probably not consistently very good. I don't know. Let me go see if I can see anything. He got 2 years with 5 picks. It's kind of nice. I don't know, 2 pick sixes in his career, nothing great. 12 forced fumbles in 11 seasons. It's kind of nice. Big hitter, maybe. Hey, what do you got? What do you got for tackles? Okay, yeah, it's whatever. Who cares? Guys like the Cowboy, I can be a homer. I'm not admitted. I'm not good enough to not be a homer. I'll say it. Everyone knows it. It's fine.
All right.
And as long as Steve Tasker never makes the Hall, I'll be fine. This is a joke. This is an absolute fucking joke. This guy is a loser. He's a bad commentator. He shouldn't be on radio, and he sucks. Did I mention that he sucks?
I will say.
Was he like a return specialist?
He's
a special teams. No, not even a returner.
He's just a special teams.
He was a special teams. Like he was good on special teams.
He became a receiver late in his career.
He's like the guy from Invincible. He's like, fuck, what's his name?
I don't know.
What's his? I'm gonna.
Now, let's just say if Steve Tasker makes it to the Hall before Devin Hester, I might have to throw a fit.
He's like Vince Papali. He's like that guy. He's a loser. I mean, you want to talk about the lowest Hall of Fame monitor? I thought I was a bum picking Rodney Harrison. He's got the second most with 51. Do you know Steve Tasker's Hall of Fame monitor? 15! 15! You're telling me there's not another guy out there who couldn't get the nod this year instead of Steve Tasker? This is his 9th year on the ballot. Screw this loser. He sucks.
15.
15.
The Vince Papali. That's
it's really something special to look at his receiving stats because, like Austin said, he became a receiver late in his career. Wink, wink. He had 51 catches for 779 yards and 9 touchdowns.
That's pretty
good.
That'd
be a good season. That'd be a good season if only he didn't
that
play
would
receiver.
That would be a less than average season.
Yeah,
touchdowns.
9 Yeah. It'd be a good secondary receiver. You know how many years he actually started the position? Like number of years the primary starter for his team in his position? 0. He was never a number 1 or 2 wide receiver on his team. What are we talking about? Get special teams guys that aren't even returners?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Why is he on the ballot? You're telling me there's not one guy who got screwed this year who could have been on this?
There's probably a bunch. The quarterfinalist list is like 50-something people.
I'm gonna go look at it.
Might even be bigger than that. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, in the meantime, while Josh looks at it, our official hot stove ballot for the 2021 Hall of Fame is Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Patrick Willis, Reggie Wayne, Rondé Barber, Calvin Johnson, Richard Seymour, and Alan Faneca. So that's who we pick to be your 2021 modern era Hall of Fame class in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What, Josh?
I mean, where do I start?
You got to share your screen?
Yeah. Okay. Share screen. Host displayed participant.
Wait a second. Let me see if I can change it. Are you allowed to share your screen?
Nope. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
All right.
I can just put the link.
No, I got it.
Okay. Let's just look. Let's start here. I mean, Dallas Clark, Jeremy Shockey are already guys who that they should be in the Hall.
Heath Miller,
yes. Not even guys that I think should be in the Hall. Roddy White, who just should be more nominated. than this loser. Jeff Saturday was a stud for how many years?
Jeff Saturday should absolutely be in there.
DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Olin Kreutz. I mean, it's a Bear, isn't he? A longtime Bear.
He only played for the Bears in his career. He might have actually played like one play afterwards. But look at Lance Briggs, Teddy Bruschi.
Lance Briggs, Teddy Bruschi.
Bruschi's not in the hall.
Gerard Mayo. Dude, that entire linebacker list can get in over.
Hey, I like to say we were dead wrong. Apparently, Teddy Bruschi isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Yeah.
I hadn't realized he wasn't.
But yes, London Fletcher. Come on now.
I mean, look at that list of linebackers. You're telling me, wow.
Willie McGinnis was the man.
What are we talking about?
Keo Spikes.
Yeah.
This is disgusting.
It's like down here in DBs.
I just want to say shout out Wes Welker for being in the wide receiver list.
Charles Tillman. I mean,
Charles Tillman.
Charles.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Dude, this
we
is
need
insane.
to have this conversation at some point with Charles Tillman.
If we're gonna say special teams, Josh Cribbs was
Yeah.
a much better special teams player than
Much better than Steve Tasker.
Are you kidding me?
So apparently, this is Charles Tillman's first year on the ballot. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame. There are a few players from that Bears defense that I can say, or from that those Bears teams, I could say need to be in the Hall of Fame more
Justin
than Charles.
Tuck. You know what? I'm out on Steve Tasker.
You mean Josh Cribbs also actually played wide receiver? Like Steve Tasker, also wide receiver. What are we talking about? He wasn't even a punt returner. He was literally just special teams. This is a bum. How are we putting in him for the fun? What are we talking about?
That's bad. I don't understand that at all. Actually,
Absolute joke.
that's obscene.
All right, we're the official anti-Steve Tasker podcast.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. How do I stop? Okay.
Sean Alexander. Oh, I keep forgetting about him.
Oh my god.
Where the hell is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Sean Alexander, Tiki, but we don't want to talk about Eddie George. Eddie George was really good.
I'm still waiting for McNabb to get the call.
Steven Jackson and Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker is the big one that I always complain about every year. Yeah.
Herschel Walker. Yeah, we have this discussion every year around Hall of Fame time. We're just like, is Herschel Walker in the Hall of Fame yet? No,
I don't.
All right, it's time to be mad.
He's stinky.
Austin and Mark, maybe you'll be mad, but in quarterbacks, I mean, obviously you'll be mad that Jake Delhomme and I want to go home is not there. But Randall Cunningham and Donovan McNabb, are they?
I think Randall Cunningham should legitimately be a Hall of Famer.
I think Randall Cunningham could be. I don't think McNabb should touch it ever.
I don't think McNabb should actually be, but he was much better than Troy Aikman, and that's all I care about.
Okay.
I think I think Donovan McNabb is in the Hall of Very Good today.
If we
Troy Aikman should be too. Troy Aikman should be in the Hall
of Very Good.
Here's the thing,
he should be in the Hall of Mediocre.
To let everybody in, and I mean, if we let everybody better than Aikman in just because they made that mistake, then we have a massive Hall.
Then Ryan Fitzpatrick will be a Hall of Famer.
I mean,
is this a dumb thing to me? But like Chad Ochocinco / Chad Johnson
needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
I was gonna say, are his stats just not good?
No, his stats are great.
His stats are phenomenal. Actually, he was really good.
Yeah.
What's the deal there?
I don't know. Probably a Terrell Owens thing. If I had to take a guess.
I mean, he also just didn't play that many seasons. I think he played 10 or 11, but he just wasn't. He wasn't ever the best receiver in the league by anyone's eyes. So
didn't he lead yards one year?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also. I mean, that's why I don't like to use the best receiver because like you play the same time as like Kelvin Johnson.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why he's probably overlooked. I mean,
yeah,
so many good receivers at that time.
Yeah, Chad Johnson was incredible.
Yeah, Chad Johnson was the man.
He's definitely one of the most overlooked players in the NFL.
He'll probably get in at some point. He should.
He had a stretch of over from 2003 to 2005. He had a stretch of more than 1,275 yards and 9 touchdowns in every season.
Those were Palmer's for 3 years, right?
Yeah, and more than 90 catches. I believe you are correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't he kick an extra point?
He did kick an extra point.
Put him in the hole already.
Which are they talking about? Dallas Clark from the Manning, right? Like Indianapolis, Dallas Clark, obviously. Yes. The San Fran one's already there, right?
I believe so.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, isn't he?
You mean Dwight Clark?
Oh, Dwight. That's the mix-up. That's what it is. Yeah.
All right, so we gotta end this bit. That was our ballot. Now, before we go, we're gonna get into our FanDuel lineups for week 14.
Wait, who got in? Who's our
Oh,
10? Sorry to go back to it.
Our 8. We came up with 8 because that's the
Oh.
maximum class that
Oh,
the,
yeah.
that the Hall of Fame will allow. All right, 8. Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Patrick Willis, Reggie Wayne, Rondé Barber. Those were the 5 that were on each of our ballots. And then the 3 players that got 3 votes apiece were Calvin Johnson, Richard Seymour, and Alan Faneca. So that is our ballot. Now,
When's the Basketball Hall of Fame episode?
oh God,
Because I will get very mad about that for 2 hours.
I don't want to talk about that. All right.
Can,
It'll just be
refuse
an
to do
hour
that
of
one.
me yelling about how Ben Wallace should have already been in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. It's just-
So I gotta peace out here. Can I go first?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm traveling for the game tonight, so I'm going with the same strategy that won me last week, which is Dookie receiver and quarterback stack. Okay, and now that is a combined what do we got? 12,000.
12,000.
Yeah, sorry, 12,500. I believe is the combined price point of my stack here. Mike Glennon at quarterback here with DJ Chark highlights my lineup.
I see I'm
Along
not
with
the only one trolling this week.
Hey, it worked last week, man. It worked last week.
trolling
I'm
too,
back to
so-
the. I got DeAndre Swift at running back, barring that he actually plays. Derrick Henry against Jacksonville's Dookie lineup. By the way, just to mention again, this is my Stoneyard Brewing shitty play lineup of the week, and we've got Derrick Henry. I mentioned that. Keenan Allen and Michael Thomas round out my wide receivers. Keenan Allen has been getting targeted like nobody else's business with Justin Herbert, who just likes to sling it to him, keep coming against Atlanta's secondary, which is non-existent. Michael Thomas is back, good at football, potentially. Hopefully Taysom Hill keeps playing because he just only throws it to Michael Thomas, so that'd be great. And he throws it to him.
To be fair, Drew
15
Brees also only throws it to Michael Thomas. So
Fair. He likes dumping it off a lot more though. He's weak. Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara's disappeared. It feels like the last couple weeks.
he
Is that
has
true?
3 catches in 3 games with Taysom Hill.
Bingo. Noah Font. Thank you. Thanks. Nunez is a stat guy. You know, I've given up on stats in my
Exactly.
later years. Who cares?
In my
Noah Font.
later years.
Yeah, I
In
mean, I'll
my
be-
old age.
I'll be dead by 30. So this
Josh
my
is
later
getting a little long in the tooth these days.
Noah Font, Denver tight end. If you haven't heard of him, he's playing against Carolina this weekend.
You know, I'll tell
And,
you about Noah Fant.
Was it?
Noah, thank you. All right.
That has no business being as funny as it is.
Yeah.
I took that joke. I can't take credit for that. I took that joke from Jamie Eisenberg of CBS Sports.
Oh, okay.
Boo.
He's been
Yeah,
doing that
you
like
should-
the last 2 weeks. I thought it was funny.
You should have just not told us. Nobody knows. I just kept getting it. And at flex, based on strictly money alone at this point, Miles Sanders is worth 6,200.
Oh.
Who dat say they gonna stop that ball? Who dat? Nobody down in New Orleans can stop Miles
New Orleans is
Sanders.
the best defense in football right now.
Not when they face Miles Sanders led by
Miles
Jalen
Sanders.
Hurts.
Miles Sanders played 14 snaps last week.
Yeah. Well,
That's
that's
bad.
because they
That's
gave
bad
up
luck.
on trying to win that game. But that's for a different argument because Austin's got a hot take for that. If you let Austin and Mark end the show on this rant, it could be epic.
It's gonna be.
I don't have a rant.
I hope Mark does because it's stupid. But thank you, people. Ride with me. We will lose together. Peace out. Thank you. Go Cowboys. Zip.
Hey, Josh. I'll go next.
Okay.
Yeah, love it.
With my
Yep. Figured out.
with my Treehouse of Horrors troll FanDuel lineup of the week.
That was subpar, but I'll take it.
Yeah, it wasn't my best, but I couldn't think of anything that started with TR except for tree. So I was,
Sponsored by a Simpsons Halloween episode. Yeah.
Yep. At quarterback, under center, we're going with the man for the New York Football Giants. That's right, Colt McCoy
Bro.
is my starting quarterback this week. I'm stacking him with Sterling Shepard.
This is disgusting.
And the G-men are playing Arizona, whose defense hasn't been great the past few weeks. So I'm looking for the G-men to put up a solid 7 points It's going to be one touchdown pass that goes to Sterling Shepard, and that's going to be all the scoring the Giants do. And it's going to get me a combined, 17 points from the two of them, and I'm excited.
Wow, really punting your stack.
I told Nunez I was going to troll this week.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, so Colt McCoy and Sterling Shepard. My two running backs, I've got Jonathan Taylor. The Vegas run defense is very bad.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor. Have we decided if he's good or not?
Yeah.
Well, we know he's good. We just don't know whether he's going to get the ball. Kind of a Miles Sanders situation over there in Indy.
So
he had 60 touches for 130 yards this past week.
All right.
He had 3 carries for 21 yards in the first 3 minutes of the game, and he didn't get a 4th carry till 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They hate him.
Let's see if they'll give him the ball. I hope they do. I'm going to keep one of us has Jonathan Taylor in our lineup almost every week
because he's good.
Yeah, I really like him.
For my second running back, I'm a little more pricey because I saved so much goddamn money on my stack. Went with Aaron Jones.
Your poo-poo garbage stack of the week.
So I've got Jonathan Taylor and Aaron Jones as my two running backs. Green Bay's playing Detroit. It shouldn't be close. Aaron Jones always gets his touches. So my other two wide receivers.
On Detroit, by the way.
What's that?
I got a good stat. The Detroit Lions are actually in the last 6 weeks or something like that. They're only allowing 3.5 yards per carry, but they've allowed 18 running back touchdowns in that span. The Bears had 2 rushing touchdowns this entire season, and then had 3 against Detroit.
They only had 2 the entire year.
Yes, and then had 3, and one of them was Nick Foles. And
so they had 1.
Yeah. So and the Bears had 3 rushing touchdowns this past Sunday. Lions defense sucks.
Everyone should have Aaron Jones in their lineup then.
Sneak play Jamal Williams, by the way. So if that game gets to be a shootout, he's gonna get 20 touches.
For my other two wide receivers, I went with Justin Jefferson. The guy is tremendous. Just very good at football. He's been hot. And I went with sort of a sneaky pick. I went with Corey Davis out of Tennessee. They're playing Jacksonville. I like Corey Davis. Yeah, Jacksonville's
playing amazing this season.
Yeah, he's having a solid year, isn't he? Yeah.
Did you see his last week?
Having a very good year.
Yeah, last week he had 182 yards. I forgot he's the receiver that went off for Tennessee. I was thinking it was AJ Brown, but I forgot it was Davis. So yeah, he's having a really good year. Jacksonville is god awful at football, just terrible. And that's another one. I think he's good for a score. My tight end and flex come out of the same game. They play for the same team. I'm going Hunter Henry and Keenan Allen. Yeah, I like both of them. Hunter Henry gets pretty consistent targets for the most part. Only had 2 targets for 1 and 5 last week against the Patriots, but that's a good defense. And the Chargers look god awful. I'm expecting a bounce back from Herbert, and he's going to throw it to these 2 guys because these are the 2 guys that he throws to. And I went with the Cowboys defense because defense doesn't matter, and they're playing Cincinnati.
I like that.
Brandon, did you see Brandon Allen's odds to throw an interception last week for like minus 350?
Brandon Allen, not good. But also he's not going to play.
Who's going to play?
That would be Ryan Finley. Brandon Allen got hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He still threw a pick last week.
Yeah. He did. Yeah, he's not good at football.
So yeah, that's my team. That's featuring the stinky poo-poo I want to kill myself stack of the week.
The stinky poo-poo I want to kill myself stack of the week.
Also, I'm watching Blues Brothers right now. I love this movie.
Yeah?
A great movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's so funny, dude.
I can go next here. The losing lineup as much.
Dude, I have Colt McCoy as my starting quarterback. Don't be too sure.
we'll call this one the Jesus Christ Jesuit Juggernaut pecking order of the week.
How are you talking about?
But yeah, what was that?
Because my starting quarterback, I had to find a J. Starting in his first ever game, Jalen Hurts.
I was this close to picking Jalen Hurts as my quarterback.
Jalen Hurts is going to have an atrocious game at quarterback. He's going to snap the ball and he's going to have to run. He's going to get 60 or 70 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, and then a garbage time touchdown late in the game. He's going to score 2 touchdowns and rush for 70 yards. You know what? For 6,600, he's cheaper than Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz isn't starting. Imagine that. You know, that's just a value you can't give up. Jalen Hurts, king of the castle, man. Best player I've ever seen, ever. Next, running backs, Derrick Henry, Chris Carson. Animals playing against bad teams. Seattle needs to get a lead and keep it, and they're going to try this week. They're going to give it to Chris Carson. They're going to keep it out of the worst player in the entire history of the NFL's hands this week, and that is Russell Wilson.
What a take.
Sorry, just the worst quarterback in the NFL the last 5 weeks. Chris Carson should get the bulk of the work here this week to get and keep a lead against the Jets.
Jets almost won a football game.
Sure, they should have won They did win a football game. Intentionally lost it. Yeah, I originally had this as my stacked game. This what I'm about to say, but I ended up veering away from it. I have Keenan Allen and Julio Jones. Couldn't figure out which quarterback I wanted in the game, but I reckon it's a high-scoring game. The Chargers get back on track, and they still can't stop anybody. So I'd reckon that's a high-scoring game. And Julio and Keenan Allen are really good at football, and I don't want to pay more for Calvin Ridley when I think him and Julio are so comparable in output that it's really hard to predict which one does better. My third receiver is getting the Deontay Johnson treatment now. 5,600 for Cole Beasley, who is seemingly targeted 80 times a week. I don't know. He's always open. He always catches it. He always puts up yards. Pittsburgh's defense didn't look very good against the football team. They gave up a lot of underneath stuff, and that's what Cole Beasley specializes in, getting open early and then making people miss tackles. I see a lot of that in that game, high scoring potential. That's why I went with my tight end is Eric Ebron, Buffalo, Dookie against tight ends. They were Dookie again this week. Jordan Reed, who revived. I mean, he played pretty bad the past couple weeks. He came out as soon as Kittle got injured, and we were like, wow, actually, he might be back. And then he got hurt again, and then he was bad again, and we were like, oh, wow, never mind, he's hurt. And then he came back and had another great game last night because Buffalo can't guard anybody. Eric Ebron had 1,000 targets as well the other night. He dropped half of them, but, the targets were there. And then my flex, a bit of not a punt, I don't want to say, but a home run kind of type of thing. Green Bay, Detroit, I think might lead towards a shootout if the Lions can get going on offense. I went Valdez Scantling because he's typically a deep threat for that team, and Rodgers loves throwing 3 or 4 deep balls a game. He connects with them, then it's plenty worth to put my flex at 5,400. And then my defense, something I think is too cheap because I think they've been a very good defense as of recent, even though they were very bad for most of the season. The Carolina Panthers hosting the Denver Broncos. Drew Lock loves to throw interceptions. Carolina has been doing great in the turnover department recently. I'd see them getting a couple interceptions, a couple sacks. 3,400, great price. Other than Jalen Hurts, my lineup, love it.
All right.
No Devontae Adams this week, I see.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Didn't find a way to get Devontae Adams in your lineup. That's sad. All right. So this is a true cash game lineup here. Stacks don't mean a goddamn thing. And I didn't go with a quarterback wide receiver stack this week because I'm an animal like that. So my quarterback this week, he plays on Monday Night Football. And I guess it's going to depend on how well tonight's game goes. That's Lamar Jackson. Fresh off the COVID list, playing tonight. We'll see. If he plays well tonight, Lamar Jackson is actually set up for a pretty good stretch to end the year in that he gets Dallas tonight, Cleveland next week on Monday night, and Jacksonville in week 15. So he might be set up for a nice, good next few weeks or so. Hopefully next week when they play Cleveland, they get Willie Snead and Mark Andrews back. They'll be able to light up the stinky Browns defense. Lamar Jackson's my quarterback. And then my first of 2 game stacks. First is Ronald Jones, the second, who Bruce Arians keeps saying he's going to give the ball to and then keeps lying about. But Ronald Jones, he be scoring touchdowns. The Minnesota run defense be bad, and that's all you need to know. And then on the other side of the game, I went with Adam Thielen, who won't stop scoring touchdowns as well. And Tampa Bay is very bad against the slot. Specifically, I assume that Justin Jefferson is going to be seeing a hefty load of Carlton Davis. And in that case, Adam Thielen should be able to feast this Sunday. My second game stack does it exist? Oh, no, I didn't do a second game stack. Never mind. I lied. My second running back is Aaron Jones. Like I said, in the last 6 or 7 weeks, Detroit's given up 18 running back touchdowns. So even if their yards per carry isn't good, Aaron Jones might have one of those patented 3-4 touchdown Aaron Jones games this week.
Mhm.
I like it. My second receiver past Adam Thielen is Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel have just landed on the COVID list. DJ Moore specifically dealing with the ankle injury and tested positive for COVID. So there's about no chance DJ Moore plays this week.
I don't see why.
Curtis Samuel is a close contact, so he might end up playing this week. But even then, Robbie Anderson, Denver sucks. All right. I don't care if they just held the Chiefs to like 20 points. Denver's stupid. Denver bad. All right. That's that. Robbie Anderson, he's good. And then my third receiver is going up against the New England Patriots this Thursday night football, and that's my little Cooper Kupp. He's 6,700, and he'd be getting targets because Jared Goff be throwing the football a lot. And that's all you need to know about Cooper Kupp.
Jared Goff do.
My flex is Allen Robinson. Remember who was saying who was always open?
Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley's the human zone beater. You're absolutely right about that, by the way. But Allen Robinson is also always open. It's just a matter of the stinky garbage Bears quarterback to get it to him. But guess who they get to play this week? The Houston Texans, who just got lit up by T.Y. Hilton's corpse. So I like Allen Robinson to play well this week. I don't know, man. My tight end, like Austin said, he's going to get 1 million targets. He's going to drop half of them, but he's probably going to score a touchdown. That's Eric Ebron. Pittsburgh seems content to throw the ball 60 times a game. And in a game that should be a shootout, I like any Pittsburgh pass catcher this week. And Eric Ebron's a good value at 5,600. And then I got the Dallas defense. We're getting Ryan Finley and no T. Higgins for the Bengals this week. Dallas, as bad as their defense has been, might actually shut them out. Especially if Joe Mixon doesn't play. That game could get brutal fast.
Yeah.
So we will see. I got the Dallas defense. Anyways, tune in. What were you going to say, Austin?
I just wanted to say, because he's not in my lineup, I still have to give a quick shout out to Devontae Adams, who if you're playing cash, definitely just kind of should be in your lineup, seeing that he's played one game this season in which he did not get injured in, that he did not score a touchdown. Otherwise, he's scored 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Pretty disgusting. He'll just catch one again. You think, oh, maybe he'll regress one game and not catch a touchdown. No, he's just going to keep catching them.
If I had to guess,
I think he scored a touchdown while you were reading those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Game doesn't need to be on.
Early season Tampa Bay for shutting him out with touchdowns.
Yeah. Are they the one team that kept him without a touchdown?
Technically, the Lions did as well, but he got hurt in the first half and didn't return. So.
All right. So. That is that for our FanDuel lineups this week. Tune in next week. I got to change my UFC lineup because apparently Li Jinliang is out of this week's event, which is sad because he's good. There we go. I just changed it. So that's it for this episode of the Hot Stove. What we're going to do next week, actually, I just thought about it. Instead of doing our NBA season preview, we'll hold that off till the week after. What we're going to do next week is next Tuesday night, the 4 of us that were on today are in a fantasy basketball league together. So what we're going to – what?
Are we gonna do the draft that night?
We are going to do a live recording of our fantasy basketball
Let's
draft
go
next Tuesday night. The four of
No
us will
one's
be.
gonna care.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The four of us will be on. I'll be sharing my screen, and the four of us will be on, going through the draft, reacting to picks as they come up, and talking generally about our views on what's coming up in the NBA season. Then we'll do our formal NBA season preview on the night of tip-off, December 22nd, 2 weeks from tonight. So in the meantime, make sure to follow us on Twitter at HotStoveWNYO. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, smash that notification button, and leave a comment if you're feeling like commenting. For everybody else, I'm Zach Nunez. Thank you guys for watching. I love you, and we will see you next week.
Peace.